Welcome to Grow With Angie. I'm Angie, and today we're going to be taking the water out of the tank of an iHarvest using a small pool sump pump. Now, I've never done this before, so you and I are going to do it together. It's either going to be a great success or a horrible disaster. So if you're ready, let's get this tank drained. The pump that I'm going to be using is Agiiman, Agiiman. I love words that you cannot pronounce, but this is the pump that I'm using. And it does come with a very long tubing. I'm blessed to have these in my dining room right next to a slider, and the slider goes out to my deck, which is a walkout ranch. I'm just gonna let it pour over the edge of the deck down into the grass, and hopefully it will fertilize the lawn. I mean, that's always a plus, right? Then it comes with a whole bunch of these little attachments, and it comes with very poor instructions. But according to the little picture, they're putting this attachment on there. I'm gonna pick the little wider one and see if we can screw it in. Like I said, I've never done this before, so you and I are doing this together. See if we can get that to push on there. Should be pretty easy. All right, the hose is somewhat sticky, so I don't think I'm gonna worry about going all the way down because it's pretty snug. I don't think it's gonna come out. And then I don't think we really need to add another adapter to the other side. Now you can see this is a very, very long hose. So that's why I'm gonna be able to run it out the deck and have it go right out the slider. Now we're going to remove my top of the iHarvest. And you can see how dirty the water is. It's really just the coloration from the food. But what we're gonna wanna do first and foremost is shut the pumps off, because we don't want these to kick on while we're in the process of doing this. There's no water around this, and then it burns out the pump. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut those off. I'm gonna put it right in the middle section because that is the lowest point of the iHarvest. And then we're gonna run this hose right out the slider. And as you can tell, I have some old towels down on the ground just for any extra dripping. And once I get the hose outside, then I'll plug it in because there is not an on and off switch. So I believe once I plug it in, it's just going to turn on. Okay, I think we're ready for this. I have the hose going out the slider, and I do have the slider closed a little bit just for bugs. And it looks like it's gonna rain today, so that's actually a really good day to be doing this. And we're gonna plug it in, and this extension is really, really long. Between the length of the hose and the length of your extension, you should be able to get a pretty good distance away from the iHarvest. Now, if you're not lucky enough to have a door or a slider or anything close by, you could use 5-gallon buckets. You're just gonna wanna turn this on and off as soon as you get close to that 5 gallons, and then haul the gallons out the door. And let's plug it in. And we have water. So the water is funneling out. It's working. All right, you can see my patio deck. I was kind of hoping to get the hose out into the rocks, but that's all right. But you can see it is working. It is funneling the water out. It's not a super high speed water pour, so we should be able to watch its progress pretty closely and easily shut it off when needed. Now, I don't know if you can actually hear the motor of this. It is really, really quiet, and I can just see the water on the side slowly going down, which this actually makes me really happy, because if you are using just a 5-gallon bucket, you're gonna have a pretty decent amount of time. As I'm pulling the hose up, and it's kind of getting these kinks out too, and it's filling a little bit more with water, I can hear it outside running a little bit faster. And now I can really tell how dirty down inside this is. You can see now it's getting underneath of the pump, And that is one reason why we wanted that shut off. And again, if you watched any of my other videos, I talk about the pump going up over the basket so it free floats and it doesn't vibrate on you. The last of the water I'm probably gonna have to scoop out by hand, which is okay because there's not gonna be a lot left. We'll see how far down it sucks it out. It's taking it down actually quite a bit before I'm having to shut this off. All right. There, now it hit some air, and so I'm gonna shut it off because I really don't want to burn the pump. All right, this is my second iHarvest unit. This one has been up since October. The other one has been up since, I believe, the beginning of May. This one, the water has been around for a lot longer. Not as dark, but does have a lot of food sediment down in the bottom. Okay, I checked my hose outside and it is barely making it over the edge of the decking, but it's still over the deck. That's all I care about at this point. So we're gonna plug this in and there it goes. I can hear it running over the edge of the deck outside. Just kind of trying to move my pumps out of the way. And you can see a lot of my sediment down here in the corner. So I'm actually going to kind of stir this up and see if I can get that to go down in the pump. And that may be because this is a newer unit and those are leftover from the rapid rooters. And one thing I like to do with my rapid rooters is actually rinse them in water and squeeze them like a sponge before I put the seeds in. Because that will help with that debris. I'm really impressed with this. I actually like that it's going a pretty slow pace, so it gives me time to pull the plug. But make sure you're sitting right here, don't walk away. Keep an eye on it. I'm just waiting again for it to get to where it just starts pulling in air, because just like your pumps or your fish wave makers, you don't want them to be sucking in air and blow out the motor. And we're getting really close now. And honestly, as much water as I'm getting out of these, I could probably sop this up with a towel, the rest that's left in. It's really not leaving a lot of water behind at all. And there we go. All right, now I have both of them drained and I'm gonna take a little bit of time to clean them out, wipe them out, and start to fill them with fresh water again. And I recommend once you put new water in, I call it a cycle. And a cycle is when it's pumping from the bottom, going up and running back down. So a full cycle. So fill your tank with water, put in maybe 1 to 2 scoops of food and run a cycle. After that cycle is done, then you can test your ppms or your ECs, whatever you're using, and your pH and rebalance again and run it another cycle. The best cycles that I have found for myself with the timers is 45 minutes off and 15 minutes on. And I've realized that if they go 2 to 3 hours without any water, they will be fine. As soon as that next cycle kicks on, they'll just soak everything up. There should be enough water held into the rapid rooter and the roots are not going to dry out as fast as you would think because they are inside this enclosed capsule of the iHarvest itself. So don't panic and rush through getting the water back into the tanks. You can take your time, schedule yourself out an hour or two to get this project done. Really great product. I really like it. I'll throw the link to Amazon in the description of the video below. And if you guys have any other questions on how to drain your tanks or when to drain your tanks, they say every 6 months. Like I said, this one's been October, that one's been since about May, and it's the first time I've ever done it, but I figured why not do it with you? And I'm glad it turned out to be a success and not a total disaster. I'm gonna get these guys filled back up and back to the normal ECs and pHs that they need to go to, and I'm gonna keep growing. I've got lots of new things going. Anyway, please leave comments below if you have any other questions that you want me to go over. I love reviewing these. I mean, these have changed my life. I love gardening, and the fact that I can do this in my dining room is absolutely amazing. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do, and hit that notification bell. So every time I do one of these episodes, you guys will get notification that it has been posted and you won't miss any. And we'll catch you on the next episode of Grow with Angie.